Okay, today I want to talk about the whole twin flame conversation. So, first off, I'm going to tell you what is otherwise known as a twin flame. There are two different definitions of it, and in the spiritual community, if you go back and forth between them, there's a little bit of a disconnect on what it is. In one version, the twin flame is your soulmate, right? So it's the person that is your match. It's the one that you're supposed to find, right? And have the, fairy tale, happy ever after, blah, blah, blah. In another version, the twin flame is basically a mirror. And when you meet this person, both of you are supposed to spark something pretty dramatic so that each of you can learn some sort of lesson between the two of you. And the interaction is usually pretty intense. That's why it's a flame, it's fiery, right? And it can kind of feel at the time as if it might be the one, but it's not. So you will see a lot of stuff about twin flames and, finding your twin flame and healing your twin flame and who is your twin flame and blah, 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 blah. So now I'm going to burst your bubble on the twin flame thing. When you get down to it, it doesn't matter either way what you believe, because it's just a soul contract. That's all it is a soul contract. So if you don't know what a soul contract is, let me walk you through that. Now, when I was reading Michael Newton's books, The Destiny of Souls, Journey of Souls, he basically maps out the space in between lives. So you had Ian Stevenson and Jim Tucker that were psychologists at University of Virginia, and they proved that reincarnation was real. And in fact, if you go back into the Catholic teachings, it was the Council of, I think it was Constantinople. I forget exactly the year, but something like 1300s, 1400s, something like that, in which they actually changed their teachings on reincarnation. So the Catholic Church actually used to teach reincarnation. And then at the Council of Constantinople, what they decided was that, well, if everybody believes that, they've got, multiple lives experiences, then they basically realize that they have do-overs, right? They have a do-over life. So if you messed up this life, well, guess what? You'll just come back next life to try to do better. And the Catholic Church didn't really like that idea. They wanted everybody to sit in this space of YOLO, you only live once, and kind of sit in, the space of original sin and the idea of if you mess up, well, everything's about forgiveness and blah, 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 blah. Now, when you look back at Asian teachings, you'll also find that further back than Christianity or Catholicism in any form, they, of course, were teaching about reincarnation. When you look at the ancient Egyptians, they also very much believed in reincarnation. So the idea of reincarnation being this old mindset is very real and a lot more in line than with this whole you live one life and then you die and that's that. And when you look at basic forms of trauma, for example, and you sit there and think, oh my gosh, I have this one life and I'm completely broken. Well, it really makes it hard to heal through any of your traumas. Could you very much sit there in this one life going, wow, well, this is a crap life and this is how it's going to go and this is it? I got a bad hand at the poker card table. So now we're going to talk about this whole twin flame thing. So the soul contracts, Michael Newton mapped out the entire reincarnation space, okay? And he was another psychologist. And this space is all about when you die, what happens? And what happens between your death point and your spawning into a new life or a new avatar. And what are the souls that are intertwined in that? And how does it work? Are we all just randomly, dying and then popping up in a in a new avatar somewhere, or is there any type of connection that's happening between you, between other people? If so, what are those connections? And what he found is that we have soul families. And these soul families are people that we frequently will reincarnate onto the earth plane with in order to continue experiences. So you might have, let's say in this lifetime, maybe you're close with your mother, and maybe you're not close with your mother. Either way, just depends on the situation. There's a way to go either way, lesson learned, whatnot. But let's say that you are, and let's say your mother dies, and you are overcome with grief, and you just can't get past it, etc., etc., etc. However, if you felt that extreme connection with your mother, then the chances are that you actually are part of the same soul family. And in that same soul family, you have the experience to keep reincarnating together. So, for example, your mother may reincarnate as your granddaughter, or maybe your grandson, okay? And, if you're still holding on to that grief, the irony is that same soul could still be on this earth plane and back with you, experiencing life. When you sit in the headspace of reincarnation, it makes it a lot easier for you to let go of grief, because you realize that the only thing that you're really sad about is that you don't get to continue having the memories and building the memories that you were. You don't get to have the same experience you were having. But if you look at it from a soul level, then you realize that you are getting to have experiences with the soul of the person that you loved. It's just in a different form. Now, a lot of these soul families, some of them are a little smaller, some of them are much larger. There's different soul groups that you're part of. There are people that you connect with. Maybe you are best friends in one lifetime. Maybe you're lovers in one lifetime. Maybe you're brother and sister in a lifetime. Doesn't really matter. We switch back and forth all the time with people that we have had experiences with, and either we really enjoy those experiences, or if it was some sort of a traumatic experience that we need to learn from, then we do. Now, when we start talking about the whole twin flame thing and that whole fiery connection and passion, right? We're looking for that one that makes us just feel excited and euphoric. Because when we recognize the energy signature of another person, we feel that recognition and we get excited by it. And what happens from a physical standpoint is dopamine fires in your brain. And dopamine is the hormone that gets you excited, that makes you feel like you won something, achieved something, succeeded at something. It's the hormone that basically elicits euphoria within yourself. So when you meet somebody else that you have that euphoric feeling with from an energy perspective, that's when you're thinking that this is my person. But that's not really the case, all right? You can feel that way simply from somebody that's part of your soul family, but you don't actually have a set soul contract with, okay? And they may still kind of swing into your sphere of being, but you may not have anything that was truly established. Now, you might also have something that's established, but it may have been a timing thing. So let's say that when you were 25 years old, that you and so-and-so met, right? And you felt the attraction, but one of you was in a relationship and the other one was not wanting to be in a relationship. And so you just ended up being friends at the time. But over the years, you've kind of navigated back and forth and you kind of just always felt like this is my person. Well, maybe it was, but the way that the world works is kind of like when you're planning a vacation or you're planning maybe a birthday party or something of that nature, and you've got everything planned out. It's going to be perfect, right? But then the event happens and it goes sideways. Doesn't go according to plan. And you're kind of upset by it. You're frustrated. yeah, it's still okay, but it wasn't exactly how you envisioned it. Well, a lot of times that's how soul contracts work, all right? It's all about the timing, because there's so much chance and choice in this that it changes, right? You may come in and be like, oh, I'm definitely gonna, when I'm 25, I'm gonna meet this person and I'm gonna end up having the relationship with him. But the thing is, you were supposed to break up with that other person 2 years before and you didn't. Well, now you're in a complicated situation, aren't you? So sometimes things don't always go according to your plans in the planning realm, in the life in between life space, when you're designing your blueprints and, crafting your soul contracts. Now, sometimes the twin flame, again, you can feel it, but you just know it's the wrong time. And then by the time that the other person is ready, you've made other choices, right? And so you're in this perpetual dance. Now, a soul contract basically is at any level. It could be romantically or it might not be, okay? And if you have had any type of a previous life experience with somebody where it was a romantic experience, and then in this lifetime you encounter that person, you can feel as if it should be a romantic relationship, but really it's not. All right. Now, I had a client one day who, she was absolutely desperate that this guy that was a friend of hers was definitely, her soulmate, definitely her twin flame. Now, I didn't believe it. My little psychic senses were like, this is not the guy. In fact, I don't even think this is a twin flame in the, you're learning a lesson. I just feel like this guy is somebody that's part of your soul family. So it's very familiar to you. It's very comforting to you, but this isn't the guy. And she didn't really want to believe me. And I was like, that's fine. You don't have to believe me. And what I told her was, if you want to find out for sure, right? If this is somebody that you're supposed to have, a specific soul contract with, and you're supposed to have a series of events with, etc., then the only way to do that is through the Akashic records. So I advised her to go seek out somebody that does Akashic record readings, and she did. She came back to me, and it turns out I was right. And they did not have a soul contract for this life at all. And, can you in the life modify or create a soul contract on the fly between your higher self and somebody else's higher self? Yes, of course you can. Of course you can. But it requires both higher selves to be in agreement on that. And if both people are not in agreement, then it's not going to happen. So here he was in this lifetime, and he didn't want to. But she is desperate, right? Like, no, you are my guy, and you were supposed to get with the program. And interestingly enough, as we are talking further, she then tells me that he's decided he's going to move to another state. And I'm saying, well, again, this is kind of reinforcing that this is not your guy. And this is definitely not any type of, soulmate connection, twin flame connection. Because otherwise, if it was, I would think he would have had that conversation with her first, right? I'm thinking about moving. What do you think? Would you maybe want to move with me? But none of that was occurring. And I had to point that out to her. And so she sat in this space of, kind of being upset that, between the Akashic record reader and me, I'm saying, look, the guy that you're feeling this pull to is not the guy. And you guys didn't make a soul contract that you wanted to experience anything in this lifetime. Have you experienced things in previous lifetimes? Yes. Is that where the energy that you feel connected to? Yes. Do at a soul level, you and this person, respect and love each other? Yes. But in this lifetime, is this something that, he wants? No. We can't force somebody to have a relationship with you if that's not what they want. If they want something else in life, or the choices that they've made have led to, new life paths for them to pursue. So she got pretty upset because she started realizing that he wasn't even considering her in his plan for this life. Wasn't even trying to. And so, a lot of people get in that headspace, though, with these twin flame concepts of, oh, we just need to do some magic and heal some stuff, and then we can make it work. But the truth is, you can only heal something in that manner if both parties are coming to the table in agreement. Both people have to want it. If only one side of the equation wants it, then it's not going to work. And as frustrating as that may be, that's something that you have to come to acceptance upon. You have to sit in that space and say, okay, this isn't what that other person wants. And I have to take a step back. And I have to go find the person that does want that with me. And when you look at these soul contracts, I try to look at them in more of a vanilla type of a setting, okay? Kind of like you're going up to somebody to dance. Like, you want to dance with me? Oh, you don't want to dance with me? Okay, well, let me go find somebody. Oh, you want to dance with me? Oh, you don't want to dance with me either. What about you? Oh, you do? Okay, great. And it's a mutual thing. And it's also dependent upon where each of you are in your life. Now, I'm also a big believer that we make multiple soul contracts, and these soul contracts are, so if plan A goes according to plan, then these are the soul contracts I want to make. But if plan A goes to shit, then what's my plan B? Okay, and then these are my soul contracts for plan B, and these are my soul contracts for plan C. And what you end up having is a lot of soul contracts that you will make, but you won't ever fulfill them. And a lot of it's just depending on, does it happen? For example, maybe you were planning for plan A to stay in the same hometown that you lived in your whole life. And so most of your soul contracts were all made with that idea. But let's say something happens at the age of 20, and it's exciting. You get this opportunity, and you decide, you know what? I'm going to take it. Now, maybe your original plan was, no, I'm not going to take it. I'm going to stay, I'm going to stay in the town, and I'm going to do this and do that. But, maybe experiences in that town made you say, you know what? I want to go do something new. I want to try something new. And you go somewhere else that was, part of a plan, but maybe 5 steps deep. And so you made other contracts. Now, let's say that you didn't make contracts. Again, you can make contracts between your higher self and their higher self in the ether. It just requires the higher selves to get together and decide, are we doing this or are we not doing this? So I highly encourage you to not get really spun up in the idea of twin flames and my soulmate and can I heal him, or how can we heal together, to be the best version of ourselves. Only if two people really want to can they. It's kind of like when there's problems in a relationship and one person says, we need to go to therapy, and the other person says, I'm not doing therapy. Well, now you got a problem, don't you? Okay, if both people don't want to do it, then you've got to find a different way to heal, or you've got to both come to the decision of, you know what? Maybe this just isn't for us anymore. Or maybe this was the point that in the plan we were always meant to separate. I don't know. But I highly encourage you to take a step back if you're feeling that desperation tied to to anybody, and you're caught up in this whole twin flame soulmate concept, because the reality is you've had a lot of soulmates. This isn't your first, and every lifetime you have not had the same soulmate. And if you think that, then you've kind of got caught up in a spiritual loop, and you need to take a step back. And I highly recommend reading Michael Newton's books, Journey of Souls, Destiny of Souls, if you're trying to understand how any of the soul groups work. I think what you do, you will start recognizing certain people in your sphere of being, and what they mean to you and what they may have meant to you in previous lives. So I hope this clears up some things about twin flames, and good luck.